Today, what I want to talk about is KV in relation to brushless motors. So right here I have my Slash 4x4. This has got an upgraded 1A scale motor. As you can see there, it is a 2100 KV. So pretty much KV means RPM per 1 volt applied. So if you don't know what RPM means revolutions per minute. That is how many times that motor shaft can spin in 1 minute. So if we apply 1 volt of power, it would be able to spin up to 2100 RPM. Now, something like a stock Slash 4x4 VXL brushless model has a 3500 kV brushless motor. So this motor, with 1 volt applied, can spin up to 3500 RPM. Right here we have an 11.1 volt 3-cell. So as you can see right here, 11.1 volt. So if we do a simple calculation here, 11.1 times 2100 kV equals 23,310 RPM. So that means this motor, hooked up to a 3-cell battery, can spin up to 23,310 RPM. But keep in mind, that number is with no load. So that does not include having a pinion on it. As soon as you throw a pinion on it, that's rotational mass. It's going to slow down that RPM. As soon as you hook it up to the drivetrain, to the slipper clutch, to the rest of the drivetrain, that's going to bring it down even more. So with no load on that motor, that shaft can spin up to 23,000 RPM. But with a 3500 kV motor, with that same 3-cell battery, we can pretty much do 11.1 times 3500 for 3500 kV equals 38,850 RPM. So that is over 15,000 RPM higher this revs to. Now, the benefit of running a bigger motor like this, it's way torqueier, and because it's not spinning up to that high of RPM, it's not going to overheat nearly as easily as a motor like this. A motor like this is going to overheat way quicker than a motor like that. Think of this as a big block motor. It can't rev as high. It cannot rev as high as this smaller. Think of this as kind of like a crotch rocket. This can rev like crazy. This can't rev as high. But the benefit is you can gear this one up a lot more to make up for that lack of RPM and change the gear ratio, which then pretty much change the RPM getting to the wheels, essentially. That's probably not the right way of saying it, change the RPM, but it will pretty much change the ratio of the final drive to the wheels, which will do the same thing and make up for that lack of RPM at the motor. And on my Slash 4x4, I was not able to gear it up enough running a stock motor mount. So I actually swapped over to an aftermarket one so I could put a much larger pinion on and slide this motor further away from the spur gear. So that's just a quick rundown of what KV means. So pretty much KV is the maximum RPM per 1 volt applied. So whatever size battery you're running, so if you're not running a 3-cell and you're running, let's say, a 4-cell like this, that would be 14.8 volts. So you'd pretty much take that same KV number and times it by 14.8, and that would be the maximum RPM for that motor. Let's say a 4600 or a 5000 kV motor, that thing's going to rev like crazy. But the thing you have to realize is you're going to have to put a lot smaller pinion on that motor, because if you try to gear that motor high, it's not going to be able to take the strain, and it's going to get very hot, or the ESC is just going to hit limp mode or overheat. So it's just a lot of things you have to consider with RC. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to hit that like button if you learned something. Also make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on new videos. Later.